What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day, and I'm back. And I gotta say, it feels real good. Back on track. You guys asked a lot of great questions. I highlighted and put a thumb next to the questions that I will be answering. Without further ado, let's get into some Monday Mail Day Q&A. Let me answer some questions. We just had Lomachenko versus Walters. Actually, it was Lomachenko's show because Walters really didn't do anything. And let's get it in. First question comes from Jack C3D. Ego, can you do a Ward and Kovalev voice impression? I know how accurate you are with these. Love this channel. Now, I haven't even worked on Ward. I don't know. I gotta see. Certain people have certain distinctions in their voice. I don't know if I've heard enough in Ward's, but I did a little Russian type of accent on the recent Kovalev video where Kovalev called Andre Ward SOJ, son of judges. I thought that was funny. Next question. I was born ready. Ego, why do you think Triple G didn't want Ward and said not today? But with Canelo, he said max for now, not for future. Maybe he thinks Canelo is weaker than Ward. What you think about it? P.S. I think Ward would have him doing the mannequin challenge on the ground for real. Wow. I don't think necessarily thought weaker. In the term weak, there's different types of strength. Some people are like Ward and Floyd Mayweather. They have enough strength, like especially like in terms of like being able to move you around. You know what I'm saying? There's like pure punching power where you get hit with one shot and you're out of there. But then there's also guys who are just strong. And you notice Ward is strong. Kovalev, during some of those tussles and stuff, I think Kovalev fell to the canvas, like when they're wrestling and stuff like that. Ward is not going to let you just buff him. Well, that's a Bay Area term that we used to say back in the day. But you know what I'm saying? You're not just going to manhandle Floyd. Like Maidana, you watch those fights. Cotto, none of them dudes just like manhandled him and like threw him around the ring. And you know what I'm saying? These dudes are strong. So, I don't know if it was that he thought that Canelo was weaker, but Canelo brings a different puzzle. And you look at Triple G, and I don't know, we have to see, but he hasn't really fought any of the big names. Ward is just, he's a gold medalist. He's taller than Canelo. Canelo's like, I've seen Canelo. He looked to me like 5'7.5", I don't know. And I've taken pictures next to Ward and seen Ward too. He's at least 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So completely different puzzle and style. You know what I'm saying? And we just seen Kovalev, he dropped Ward, but he couldn't pull the trigger and get him out of there. So that shows you his determination, his willpower, and his pedigree. Whether you thought Kovalev won or Ward won, doesn't matter. It still shows you something. Kovalev was, you look at his fight with Hopkins, he started out very strong, knocked Hopkins down in the first, and he closed very strong. And it looked like he was about to stop Hopkins in that 12th round. But as the fight wore on with Ward, he got stronger. Ward got stronger. And Kovalev looked like he declined, which is the only reason that people like myself give the fight to Ward, because of Ward's second half. He turned it up and Kovalev turned it down. And Ward made Kovalev turn it down. Body shots and, you know what I mean, just probably some of the wrestling and stuff. Fatigue sets in. And then the willingness to win. So I think Triple G being a decorated amateur, it doesn't seem like Triple G's team wants to fight any decorated amateur. Erislandy Lara, you look at guys like Andre Ward, you know what I'm saying? And I think they realize that Canelo, he doesn't have an amateur background. You know what I mean? He started in Mexico at age 15, learned on the job. Great fighter, skilled fighter. But it is different when you come in that amateur circuit, and Triple G knows that because he's a silver medalist. He's been to the Olympics. So you probably have a different level of respect. You know, technically, to make it to the Olympics, you know what I mean, you have to be good. And Canelo's a good fighter, but he's just a different puzzle. He's short, or shorter than Ward. His style would play into what Golovkin does well. You know what I'm saying? Like a brawl. Ward is not going to fight stupid. He's not going to fight a brawl when he don't have to. Or a brawl, you know what I'm saying, against a certain fighter who wants that. So Ward's going to give you so many different looks. So to me, that's why Triple G said not today, is because they know Ward is a different puzzle. And at 68, Ward would clearly be the favorite. If he was the favorite moving up with only a couple fights at 175 to beat Kovalev, he would be the favorite to beat Triple G at 68 if that fight would have happened. And I'm not saying favorite in terms of popularity. I'm talking about in terms of the books. And that's what's funny, because people always say all this stuff on my videos and who's going to win. And, oh, Floyd Mayweather's getting knocked out in 1 round, man. Pacquiao's going to knock him out. You know what I mean? They say all these crazy radical predictions that never come true. It's just like Freddie Roach, Abel Sanchez. A lot of times they have crazy radical predictions. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my guy's going to knock this guy out and this and that. You know what I mean? Abel Sanchez said Ward has no shot. Ward, no shot. No shot to beat Kovalev. Ward, he just doesn't, no shot. You know what I'm saying? He kept saying that Kovalev was going to stop him. Then post-fight, he's saying, I thought Ward won the fight. You know what I'm saying? It's funny that how that works. Meanwhile, check the Boxingego 7 reasons, and you know what I'm saying? You guys can judge for yourself which predictions have come right, and what I said before and after, and what added up and what made sense, and what came true and what didn't, right? So I think Triple G's team, they're smart enough. They know that Ward's a completely different puzzle. And again, the people, is funny because people always have these crazy radical predictions in the comment section, but the people in Vegas, and when people put their money down, it's never that. They're like, oh, Kovalev's gonna knock Ward out in the first round. But then you go to the books and the betting odds are for Ward to beat Kovalev. You know what I'm saying? So why aren't you betting how you're commenting? You know what I mean? Because I know I have to assume that some level of people in these forums and comment sections and articles and websites and stuff like that are betting. You know what I mean? Somebody, because they're most likely boxing fans. So why aren't you betting like your comments are suggesting? Very funny to me. People, because at the end of the day, the real reason is people know what's up. And they could put all this crazy stuff. Pacquiao's going to knock out Floyd in the first 30 seconds. But they don't believe that. Because if they believed it, why wouldn't you put your money where your mouth is? Next question. Motion Alex. Ego. What do you think the best next option for Loma? Unifying, moving up, moving down for a possible matchup with Rigo? And thanks for keeping it professional all the time. That's not a problem. I like the Vasyl Lomachenko RIGONDEAUX fight. But I don't think it's realistic. Really, reason being is they're moving in different directions. RIGONDEAUX's tiny. He's at 122. Still hasn't made a plunge to 126. He's in his 30s, and you got Lomachenko who just left 126, and now he's at 130, and he just has 2 stoppages at 130. So I don't think they'll be able to agree. I would love to see that. You know what I mean? Arguably 2 of the best of this generation or all time amateurs fighting as pros, very skilled to be a chess match, very technical, but they're kind of moving in different directions. And I'm not a big fan of rushing fighters, you know what I mean? Look at Broner, and I'm not comparing Lomachenko to Broner, each fighter's their own fighter, but Broner, he was feeling himself at 130, 135, and probably rushed it a bit, fought Paulie, and then immediately fought a big, huge puncher with a lot of veteran experience in Maidana, and then we all seen the outcome of that fight. So to me, I don't think Lomachenko, he just moved up, and people are, oh, he needs to fight Crawford, he needs to fight Pacquiao, 140, 135, fight Mikey Garcia. I don't know. I don't think he needs to move up to lightweight or move up to 140 to fight top names at, you know what I mean? I understand, I get the man is skilled, he's high tech, but I think he should do what he's doing. And you just moved up to a new division. To me, there's enough people in or around his division to make things interesting. I would say Francisco Vargas, he's a champion, right? I mean, I don't think Francisco Vargas will beat Lomachenko, but still, you know what I mean? That's in or around his division. Maybe a Salido rematch, that's a good one. Give yourself the redemption that you deserve. Put that to bed. Like, man, I was the better fighter. Because you watch that fight, and this one I knew Lomachenko was a problem, is because he was getting like ambushed and all that by Salido, but he almost stopped. If you really watch that fight, go watch it again. I pay attention. I got big eyes for a reason. If you watch that Salido fight, he almost stopped Salido in that final round, in the 12th round. He was hurting Salido. That was his second fucking fight as a professional. So Salido's a game veteran, cagey, willing to do whatever. See, unlike Nicholas Walters, what he displayed, Salido will get knocked out. He's been knocked out before, you know what I'm saying? He's willing to get knocked out to try to impose his will on you. He got that that true Mexican heart, you know what I mean? And I don't believe in the stereotypes, because there's some Mexican fighters that have quitters, or Mexican fighters that are quitters, like, you know what I mean? Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. quit before, Chavez Jr. quit, obviously Victor Ortiz and stuff like that. But in the stereotypical sense of it, Salido is that Mexican warrior, Mexican style, or whatever, if you guys want to call it that. And he comes to bring the pain, and what he lacks in technique, he makes up for in other ways, just ruggedness and relentlessness and body work and stuff like that. But Salido almost got stopped in that 12th round if you go watch that fight again. So I think that's a good one, just to see how he deals with the pressure the second time. I don't like the refereeing job in the front. I think it was like Lawrence Cole or somebody. I don't know. I didn't like how he was refereeing it, but if it's on an even playing field, hopefully they get a good ref, or Kenny Bayless, or Tony Weeks, or somebody, and have a fair fight, set things in the contract with the weight, and then clear that up. Gary Russell Jr. too, I'm okay with that, even though, you know, that's really more so for Gary Russell, because Gary Russell has since bounced back and become a champion, knocked out Johnny Gonzalez, had a title defense, and he wants to get back. But I mean, based on the first fight, you can't say it's owed to him, because Lomachenko won convincingly. But that's what I think he should do instead of Crawford and Pacquiao at 40. I don't know. I just don't believe in rushing. Gamboa, I would love the Gamboa fight. Gamboa needs to get more active though, because you see what happens to fighters who fight him. If they're not active enough, you might get chopped up like Axeman Walters. So Gamboa needs to work on his activity. I seen him recently. He was in shape, and that's a fight I would like. Something like that. So Francisco Vargas, Salido 2, Gary Russell Jr. 2, Gamboa. Or you know what? I don't even know this guy. See, this is I know boxing, and this one I'm gonna say. Lomachenko is super technical. So to beat Lomachenko, I'm gonna tell you guys what I've noticed and how to beat Lomachenko. You have to possess one of two things from what I see. You have to be as technical as him or better. You know what I mean? Like a very skilled person, like just very skilled, and be able to outwit him, outsmart him and stuff like that, and be better at the technical boxing than he is, right? That's one option. So, you know what I mean, top level guy, like, you know what I mean, Terence Crawford, Mayweather, or somebody who has a high level of skill set, right? Or you have to just be probably not even that technical and just have power and be just big and relentless. You know what I'm saying? Just the complete opposite of technique, because those are the things that I've seen really that could beat technique, is if somebody is just so, like Amir Imam. He's a good technical fighter, good fundamentals, good, you know what I'm saying? But it took a Adrian Granados, just someone who's good power, relentless, you know what I mean, had fought at a higher weight and dropped back down to 140, things like that, to beat Amir Imam. So that's what, and I'm not comparing, because I know some of you guys are idiots, like, oh, Lomachenko's not Amir Imam. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying those are the things that I've seen in boxing that have beaten guys that are technical, you know what I mean? Sometimes it takes the polar opposite of someone who's technical and stuff to beat that. I don't know if you guys, I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head as I freestyle this video, but to me, those are things, you know what I mean? Like Walters he possibly could have did it with his attributes. Like if this was like create a player, he could have done it, but he has to have more heart than he showed, and he has to have I don't give a fuck attitude and just try to bully Lomachenko. I mean, you're letting Lomachenko get off first, hit you 6, 7, 8 times, because that, I mean, you're gonna lose. So another fight that I would like to see for that reason is the Japanese guy, the Takashi Miura, the one that fought against Francisco Vargas, because obviously he's not more technically sound than Lomachenko, but the motherfucker can crack. He got cracks, and he's a warrior, right? So sometimes that can make up for the technique, you know what I'm saying? And he's like kind of wild, but he's really heavy-handed. So I think those would all be fun fights. Salido 2, Gary Russell 2, Miria, Oscar Valdez, but I think he would have to move up to fight Valdez. Those are some good fights for me, for Lomachenko next. Next question is from Georgia Boy. What up, Ego? What up? Shout out to New Media. New Media. Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia. Okay, first you got Robert Guerrero and his dad. Then you have Sean Porter and his dad. If Keith Thurman can pull off this victory against Danny Garcia, that would be his third daddy's boy combination. Do you think the storyline of Keith Thurman possibly beating the fourth, is it 4 or 3? Daddy's boy is enough to bring Floyd Mayweather out of retirement? Yeah, I mean, this is boxing, you know what I mean? Boxing needs to get back to some of that WWE. Conor McGregor's doing a great job in the UFC of selling his fights. I give him that. Definitely doing a great job of that. So yeah, any type of storyline, Keith Thurman, the daddy's boy killer, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And not just the storyline, but just what it means for the division. That's a unification fight. So yeah, it's certainly enough to bring the winner, could bring Floyd Mayweather out of retirement for sure. And it doesn't even have to just be Keith Thurman. If Danny Garcia knocks out Keith Thurman, that might bring him out. So I think the winner in general, not just Keith Thurman being the daddy slayer or whatever, I think the winner of Garcia Thurman, people are gonna watch that fight. It's gonna be on Showtime or CBS. It's gonna be an all eyes on me type of fight, right? So I think that could be the type. Floyd fights guys off of their biggest wins. So that would be the type of exposure fight, like Maidana when he beat Broner. Cotto avenged the Margarito loss, the first guy to ever beat him. You look at Ricky Hatton was undefeated. You look at Victor Ortiz just beat Berto. He was the underdog. So yeah, that's the type of spotlight exposure type of fight that could thwart the winner into bringing Floyd out of retirement for sure. I could see that. Next question. Southside Boxing 601. Yo, Ego, would you say it's time for Lomachenko for Gamboa versus Gamboa? I think that's a huge fight. What do you think? Yeah, man, I like it. I'm always been a fan of Gamboa, but he has to go back to his roots. Gamboa gets knocked down and stuff, so he has to just come back sharp, come back correct. I don't know, man. He was looking good in that Terence Crawford fight, but after when Crawford got a grip on things, it was ugly. He got knocked down like 4 times. So I don't know how much that is taken out of him. I don't know if he's the same fighter. Plus, he was with 50 Cent. Something special, man. You know I got Gamboa, nigga. So yeah, I don't know. He wasn't really active during that whole time, and he still hasn't been active. He's barely had any fights. So again, I said this earlier in the video, you don't want to face Lomachenko and you don't have your feet wet. He's just not the one for that. You have to bring your A game, be the best version of you. So Gamboa probably needs a tune-up or 1 to 3 tune-ups. Like, you know what I mean? Or like Ward did with Kovalev. You know what I mean? Take 2 tune-ups and then fight him. But I would love to see that fight based on the skill. 2 Olympic gold medalists. Let's get it. Next question, Motion Alex. Ego, you think that some of the decafs will continue bringing up the Salido fight to smear Loma's skill set and achievements? Or you think that he's a different fighter now, and for that reason, you think he should rematch Salido to clear the loss out? And I kind of answered that, but since I've been doing this, man, the hate's gonna come. You can't stop it. You can't please everybody, so I don't even really worry about the haters. The haters are gonna always be there. You know what I mean? It just lets you know that, yeah, look at that as reassurance that you're doing something right. So I think Vasyl Lomachenko, with what he's doing with his career, the level of exposure he's getting with HBO and Top Rank, he don't really have nothing to worry about. He lost to Salido. Like I said earlier in this video, he almost stopped Salido in the 12th round. It's not like he was getting it. Like, I don't know. It's a loss, but it's not like Axeman's loss. That's a harder loss to bounce back from, to be honest, because he was getting his ass whooped every single round, basically. Didn't really throw punches, seemed intimidated and scared, and then quit and did a no mas. Lomachenko wasn't getting dogged like that. Salido was the bigger man, missed weight, was fighting dirty, ref wasn't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of variables. It was his second pro fight, a lot of variables in that fight. So he's just a good fighter, and you know what I mean, probably bit off more than he could chew, but at that time, but he's since progressed and beat. See, this is this is crazy. HBO, they managed the career of Lomachenko and also Chocolatito. And Chocolatito, they're saying he's the #1 pound for pound. But you look at Lomachenko, he got a better resume. And see, even Golovkin, to me, I don't know. This is just me. Per capita, per division, Lomachenko has a better resume than Golovkin. And he has a better resume than Chocolatito, to me. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about resume, per capita, per division, where he has fought. Lomachenko in less than 10 fights fought SALIDO. If you don't know, do your homework. SALIDO's been in there with Juan Manuel Marquez. He's been in there with Robert the Ghost Guerrero. He's been in there with YURIORKIS Gamboa. He fought Mikey Garcia. He fought Juanma Lopez twice and stopped him at home, right? The guy from, I don't know, Kapatswa, I forgot his name. But anyway, he was from Thailand or somewhere. He was a ranked guy. I mean, SALIDO's resume is deep. He's been in there. Rocky Martinez twice. SALIDO got a good ass resume. You know what I'm saying? And then also he's been in there with Gary Russell. You know what I mean? A guy who was basically gonna go to the Olympics, but I think he got ill, got the flu or something. And his brother just went to the Olympics, got robbed. And then now Nicholas Axeman Walters, undefeated, probably slightly bigger than him, even though on the fight night they were a pound apart and Walters was a pound under. But you know what I mean? Nicholas Walters got that power. Stopped Donaire, stopped Darchinyan, and he fought Lomachenko and looked like horse shit. So to me, who's on Golovkin's resume that you would say is the Axeman Walters? You know what I'm saying? David Lemieux. But then okay, if that's the person you say, who has David Lemieux stopped like Axeman Walters stopped Donaire, a fighter who had never been stopped before? Lomachenko or Lemieux, he stopped Gabe Rosado, who had been stopped by Alfredo El Perro Angulo. He had been stopped by Gabe Rosado, or Gabe Rosado got stopped by Triple G, lost to J. Leon Love, and then it was a no contest. Lost to Peter Quillen. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Who's David Lemieux's Axeman Walters or Gary Russell Jr. or Triple G? You know what I'm saying? I think Lomachenko should be the one that is being pushed probably the most, because in 10 fights he's doing crazy things. So yeah, fuck the SALIDO loss. I'm sure he'll avenge it. Next question, Joseph Reyes. What is your personal top 5 dream fights that never happened? If you could choose the next big boxer movie like Hands of Stone, ooh, what would you pick? Man, y'all be asking me some good questions. Boxer movie. I'm just gonna name a couple because it's too hard to narrow it down. It has to be a captive. Bernard Hopkins, I think he has a very good story. Been to jail, then you know what I mean, got out and did crazy things in boxing, fighting 50. That's a story you could turn into a movie. He's from Philly. So it has to be someone like that. Has an interesting story. Edwin Valero, that would be a crazy story. I don't know how they would do it with the language barrier and stuff, if they could make an American version. But the crazy story, the murder, you know what I mean? Arturo Gatti. It has to be someone like that to me. You know what I mean? Roy Jones. But for Roy, if you did a Roy story, you got to be the right person, because Roy was cocky. You got to get someone that can capture that charisma. But those are some off the top of my head. Top 5 dream fights, and that's hard as hell. Off the top of my head, I want to say Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. That would have been a good one. If this is anything, I would say like Mike Tyson. I don't know if it has to be certain eras or whatever, so I'm just going to freestyle. Mike Tyson versus like David Tua, or Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali, I think would have been classic. I would love to have seen that. Floyd Mayweather versus Prince Nassim at the time in the lower weight divisions. Pacquiao versus Edwin Valero. That would have been, oh my gosh. Somebody's noodles would have I don't even know. Let me know what you guys think. Who would have won at that time? That would have been a good one. That's 4. And I want to say Eric Morales and Juan Manuel Marquez. That's probably the other one. I think that would have been a good fight, classic fight back in the day. That's hard off the top of my head to think of classic fights that I'd want to see. But yeah, off the top of my head, I think that's a solid list. Next question is from Michael Perez. Ego, what's up? Do you have anything on Felix Verdejo? He been a little too quiet lately after the motorcycle accident. No, I haven't really heard nothing from him. I heard he might come back and the first quarter, like February through April next year. Haven't heard much from him. He was at the WBO convention in Puerto Rico. I don't know if he still lives out there, but yeah, he went to that. I seen him, but that's all really it. I haven't really seen much else other than him. So hopefully he gets a fight soon. He's actually someone that fought Lomachenko. Lomachenko beat him, but he says he went on to say Verdejo was his toughest fight in the amateurs, and he has almost 400 Amis. So that's a testament to him. I don't know what will happen now, but that's something that I remember reading. Next question, Gino Whitset. Do you think Loma can beat Crawford? And to me, again, it's not. I don't think Loma should even be thinking 140. I mean, obviously money talks. So if you can get Pacquiao down to 35, which I don't even know if Pacquiao can comfortably make. They say he's tiny, but I don't know. Maybe take it, but I don't know. There's so many good fights. Like, I'd rather see Crawford versus Danny Garcia, Crawford versus Mikey Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Guys who are a little bit closer to where he's at. Crawford versus Robert Easter Jr. You know what I mean? Crawford versus Pacquiao. Guys who are already established at 135 or 140-ish. You know what I mean? 147 maybe. Those are fights I would want to see. But I mean, I would favor Crawford just based on the size, and he's a skilled fighter, and he's gonna be. Loma's good, but you don't. It gets to a point where like your size is gonna matter. You know what I mean? Especially if you just move up. You've seen it like Kell Brook. If Kell Brook was naturally Golovkin size, maybe it was a different fight because he was still having some success. But it just becomes hard when you're at so many deficits. That person has more experience in multiple fights at 140, might rehydrate to 155, 160, and you're still moving up to that division, so you're not going to rehydrate that much. You know what I mean? Too many variables. So I don't think he would beat him anytime soon, and a lot of it's because of size. Size matters, you know what I mean? Because you have two skilled fighters, then what's going to be the difference maker? And then you have to start looking at other things. Size, you know what I mean? Mileage on them and shit like that. Next question, Obed Giusti. Hey, Ego. From my point of view, I think American fans are stupid as fuck. They have legends, unbelievable athletes in the boxing game, and yet they take so much hate. I agree with that. Why? It's like they don't know what they have until they lose it. And how can that be fixed? You are brilliant with your channel. I mean, that's a deep question. I don't really know how to fix it. I mean, hopefully I can fix it, or I could be one of them. Like Pac said, I will spark the brain. Like, hopefully people listen to my channel and take something away from it. I do respect the American champions. I think guys like Floyd Mayweather, Deontay Wilder, Terence Crawford, and all the other American champions, like they get a bad rap. Like, people don't even root for them. And it's not just them three, but there's a ton. Danny Garcia, there's a ton. Oh fuck, he's a cherry picker. And then you get a guy who's a foreigner from another country, Pacquiao, Crusher Kovalev, and it's great to like them too, Golovkin. But where's the support for? That's what I'm saying. People are sometime patriots. They want to be American when it comes to politics or situations or topics of war and stuff, or the 4th of July. You know what I mean? You all American then. But then when it comes to supporting American fighters, American champions, you shit on them. And you know what I mean? Maybe it's because America is a melting pot. You got people from all over, from Africa, Russia, from Asia, from Mexico, Puerto Rico, you know what I mean? People who migrate here. So maybe since it's such a vast melting pot, maybe that's why the American champions aren't fully embraced and supported, because people from other cultures come and, you know what I mean, kind of congregate and live in America, you know what I mean? Versus, for example, if you go to Mexico, then you might, you know what I mean, everyone is going to be from, you know what I mean, from different parts of Mexico, Sonora, or Guadalajara, or wherever, right? So you'll probably celebrate the premier name, like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., you know what I'm saying? You're not going to find probably too many people that hate them or hate Marco Antonio Barrera or Eric Morales. You know what I'm saying? Maybe certain parts of Mexico, they're not, like if you're from Tijuana, you might hate this guy because you like this other fighter, but it's not the same. Like, it's in America, people love Kovalev but hate Ward, you know what I'm saying? And they're from America. So I don't really know exactly how to change it. I just try to do my part to educate, and I'm gonna keep praising the guys. And sometimes I like doing it because this is where I live, and I can represent and embrace whoever I want. Shakur Stevenson, when he turns pro, I'm going to be right there to support him too. Clarissa Shields, all of them, because it's not some people try to, and see, this is the thing. Some people try to turn it to a black thing. There's a lot of black top level athletes. That's not my fault. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie and act like Clarissa Shields is garbage because she's black, or Shakur Stevens, or Floyd, or Andre Ward, or Deontay Wilder because he has power. I'll never do what people want me to do. I'm going to always do what I'm passionate about, what I feel in my heart. So if there's a lot of American champions, whether they're black, Mexican, white, purple, if they're great, they're great. You know what I mean? If I see a talent in them like Crawford, then it is what it is. I didn't create Crawford. I didn't make him dark skinned or his complexion. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? If Crawford was white, then he would get the same level of praise because he's that good. He's a good ass fighter. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always going to support it. I don't know about how to convey it to other people. You know what I mean? So I don't really worry about that, because at the end of the day, people are going to root for what they want to root for and rep what they want to rep. But at the end of the day, the American style is hard to beat and keeps winning. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you put the best of the best from America and then the best of the best from other regions, a lot of times the American comes out on top. Like, I'm talking about in big fight, like Mayweather Pacquiao, who came out on top? The American, right? Ward Kovalev, who came out on top. Whether you dispute it or not, don't matter, because who has the belts? I'll go to Ward's gym this week, and I guarantee you they have the belts right there and shit. You know what I mean? So whether you like it or not, it is what it is. Same thing with, like, the, you know what I mean, heavyweight. Deontay Wilder, there's a lot of champions, you know what I mean? Deontay Wilder, he would probably be favored to beat a lot of people. So it's not always the case, you know what I mean? Sometimes people from other areas are going to beat the American champions, but I'm going to always do my point is to always support my countrymen. You know what I'm saying? People who represented us, especially in the Olympics and stuff like that. And that's just what it is. You go to UK, I don't expect anything different. If they love Anthony Joshua, I love Anthony Joshua. Pause. I like him. He's an exciting ass fighter. So it's not just like I'm only gonna like people from America, but at the same time, they celebrate. I mean, I'm not even gonna say no names, but some of the fighters in the UK are Garbo, and they got a fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could think of certain fighters, and then people were like, yeah, like, I mean, crowds loving them, tuning in their fights and getting pay-per-view when it shouldn't be pay-per-view. So it is what it is. You support whoever you want to support. I'm gonna do the same. Next question, Frederick Cotton. Who's the best at 154? Very tough, but I would probably say overall completeness, Demetrius Andrade. He just has to fight a little bit more often. But it's a toss-up. You got Canelo, you got Edeslandi Lara, you got Julian J. Rock, Jermall Charlo. Very good. Very, very good division. You know what I'm saying? And we're getting one of those fights, Charlo versus J. Rock. So that'll help us to signify who's the best. You know what I mean? Fights like that. Hopefully we get more. And Canelo might move up to middleweight, but that's something else. Next question, Johnny Chicano. Shit, man. What do you think is next for Walters? He needs to go on timeout and think about what he did. High Tech was toying with him in there. He just has to rewatch the fight, get with his team. I mean, honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but basically, it's not like he got knocked out. Like, I mean, he got knocked out, but he didn't get knocked out like face plant. He was like, you know what I mean? Like Amir Khan, Canelo. He wasn't knocked out like that. This is more or less, you got to wipe the dirt off your shoulders. Like, it's that type of, you just got to swallow your pride, work harder, get back in the gym. And I think he shouldn't, unlike, if a fighter gets knocked out like Amir Khan, Canelo, take a long break. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you might be scrambled. You know what I mean? You have to come back correct. So I agree with fighters taking long layoffs and that, but he just came off a long layoff and you didn't get stopped. You weren't like bleeding and broken nose. Luckily, you didn't have any injuries. So you just gotta, you took more or less a hit on your pride, and you weren't on the same skill platform as Lomachenko. But he needs to get back in the ring as soon as possible and try his best to right that wrong. Next question from him, part B. And you think Lomachenko versus Crawford will be made? If so, what are your thoughts on the fight? And I talked about that earlier. I personally don't really, I'm a boxing fan, so yeah, the names excite me. Like, yeah, but I'd rather see Lomachenko gradually move up. I think that's fair, and that's what happens. They do it with Floyd. Floyd got to fight Golovkin now because he beat Pacquiao. So when you start getting too good, then they want you to rush and move. But I don't think that's how it should be. Like, I don't think like Crawford moving from 135 at the time to 140 made sense. He was clearly the most skilled guy at that time at 135. Broner had left. He had already beat Ricky Burns. He beat Ray Beltran. There was no other names really at that division for him to even stay. Later, there were some names like Richard Comey and Robert Easter Jr. and Zlaticanin and now Mikey Garcia. But at the time, Crawford, when he was champion, and he beat Beltran and stuff, there weren't any great names, so he moved up and fought people at 140. So in those situations, it makes sense. But Lomachenko, this is literally his second fight at 130. So I know Crawford ain't making no 130 now, you know what I'm saying, or 135 anymore. So, that would require Lomachenko to have to move up to 138, 140, you know what I'm saying, something like that. And I think that's just kind of rushing it. He's a skilled fighter, but let him do his numbers, and you know what I mean? Same thing with Crawford. Like, he's at a division where he could stay there for a little bit longer. He beat Victor Postol, yeah. There's not as many names, but he doesn't have to move up to welterweight. You know what I mean? Get your feet wet, get your comfortable with your style and bigger weights and stuff like that. It's a process, like Floyd Mayweather said. Next question, Motion Alex. Ego, do you think that it was the worst possible outcome for Walters? Because a lot of people were picking Loma to win by unanimous decision KO by even embarrassing Walters or make him look stupid, but I didn't see anybody predicting a quote-unquote no mas. And yeah, it's bad for him. That was the worst possible outcome. Sometimes getting slept is more valiant. Well, it is, because if you get knocked out, it's like, oh shit, you got caught cold. You know what I'm saying? He got knocked out. There's nothing you can really do about that. You got caught with the right shot, perfectly timed shot or whatever. It is like Pacquiao. I mean, people made memes and stuff when Marquez knocked him out, but nobody said Pacquiao wasn't a warrior. No one tried his manhood. No one said, oh, he didn't come to fight. You know what I'm saying? But go read the comment sections about Walters. Not really favorable stuff being said. It's like, oh, he's a bitch, he pussy, you fucking quit. Another Panamanian quit like Duran. You know what I'm saying? It's not good stuff. So, same thing when you develop a stigma like that, like Victor Ortiz, that becomes more of a psychological battle and like black cloud over you. That just, it's not, I don't know, it just wasn't like even the Kell Brooks situation. He was fighting, he was scrapping with Golovkin. His team stopped it. He was still on his feet, never got knocked down. He was hurt or whatever you want to say, but he was still trying. There's no shame in that. But what Walters did, there is shame in that. Because you didn't look like you were visibly, like, you might have, some of those shots may have hurt you or whatever, but you didn't look like you were in that bad a shape where you just absolutely had no, you know what I mean, give it another round or something at least. You know what I mean? You don't have any major, like injuries or anything. And you just say, oh, nah, fuck this. I'm getting touched up too much. I can't hit him. I'm not even going to try. That's just like, it's pathetic. And do you see him ever getting back on top? And if yes, what does he need to do? I don't know. I mean, that's a difficult question. That's really going to be dependent on him and how he takes this backlash, because he's definitely getting it. I don't know. I don't think he can beat Lomachenko, especially fighting how he had. It's like Lomachenko took his soul. But, I mean, there's other people. Jason Sosa has the title. He already beat him, so maybe rematch him. And, I mean, if that's on top, if you want to call it that, beating him and becoming champion again. So, yeah, I mean, there's options for him. But it's just going to be dependent on how he handles the backlash and that quote-unquote, I don't even say it's hate, but the hateful comments that he's getting now. Next question, Jamal Davis. Hey, Ego, what do you think of Loma, Gervonta Davis if he wins the title? Premature. I don't. Lomachenko's a problem. And I like Tank Davis, but I don't know. Let me see how he looks versus the sniper Jose Pedraza. But I've seen from past fights what I've seen from Davis. Sometimes he gets hit and stuff like that. But again, I will say this: he's from Baltimore. He's tough, stuff like that. That could be kind of what I was going to earlier. is saying is that could be a style to possibly beat him. Like, you know what I mean? A guy who's not really as worried about technique, and it just becomes a war dogfight. And he clearly has power, nasty uppercuts and stuff. And I think he might even be a southpaw. So Loma's a southpaw too, though. But I think they both might be southpaws. I got to double check on Tank. But yeah, I mean, it's a good fight. But from what I've seen, the accuracy of Loma is going to give Tank Davis problems. But again, I don't know. I think the Pedraza fight is a dangerous one, right? So let me see how he looks in that fight, and then I can tell you a little bit more. But from what I've seen, it's hard to gauge because Tank hasn't fought anyone even like a Pedraza. So to consider a Loma fight at this point, Loma has more pro level experience. Next question. This is Scam TV. Hey, Ego, how come no pundits are mentioning Mikey Garcia for a possible matchup with Lomachenko? I have heard a few people. I even made a video about it. I think Robert Garcia did an interview recently, and he said he likes to fight. I love it. Make it. Well, actually, I don't know. Well, actually, that's only 5 pounds if he moves up to fight Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia is fighting Zlaticanin at 135. So, I mean, if they can work out the weight, then I think it's a great fight. Both technical fighters. Speed advantage would go to Lomachenko. Faster feet would go to Lomachenko. But Garcia can crack, and he's big for the division. So, I would like to see something like that. But again, it's just a matter of should Loma take his time, move up the right way, stuff like that. Next question comes from Massive Tunes. Are you having doubts about Loma versus Walters? LOL. Well, we've seen the outcome now, so definitely not. I picked Lomachenko. 7 reasons. The fight prediction streak continues, so I didn't have any doubts about it closer to the fight. I usually don't. Once I pick somebody, you know what I mean? It's because I've done research and I did my homework, and that's who I'm confident in, as confident as I'm going to be. So I just ride with it from that point. Next question, Paulie G17. Can Lomachenko become pound for pound number 1? I think he is the most complete boxer ever. Keep up the great work. Hashtag pause Latito. He definitely has the skills to do it. Even with the loss, he's a handful for anyone to deal with. He has defense. He's offensive. I fuck with the Ukrainian boxing school. I like, from what I've seen, I like him. Klitschko's can fight. I mean, their style obviously is not as entertaining as a Lomachenko, but even the Alexander Usyk, for his size, he was doing some of the same stuff that Lomachenko does, like with the angles and the movement, and he looks pretty built. He looks pretty big. So I like the Ukraine boxing school. That's all I could say. And Lomachenko, he definitely has the skill set to be on the pound for pound number 1 as he, you know what I mean, as time goes on, if he fights the right competition and stuff in his career. Next question, Kush Jarrett. Who are your top 5 rappers, rap groups from the Bay? Keep sprinkling knowledge on the boxing world, bro. Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna be real. There's not a lot of Bay Area current music that I listen to, and it's been that way for a while. I like the classic stuff, so obviously like classic like E40 and the Click, Digital Underground, 3 Times Crazy, Loonies, Richie Rich was my dude. Who else is there from the Bay Area? RBL Posse. So yeah, I would say those are the ones that Mac Dre, Mac Mall, like just old school stuff. I don't know. The newer artists I don't know. That's not been my thing. I like I don't know. I guess because of the sound and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the old school stuff that I just named. That's up my alley. But some of the other cats, they'd just be like, man, I'm smoking on the purple, got the purple on them. I'm like, I don't know. That's cool, but I don't know. It is what it is. I grew up on, like, my brother was a real hip hop head, so he got me on classic like Wu-Tang, Redman, LL Cool J, Tupac, of course, Biggie, of course. Who else? Exhibit, The Alcoholics, Public Enemy, Cypress Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the MC Light, Queen Latifah, all that. Missy, Misdemeanor Elliott. Who else is there? Rakim, Kane. Just the classic. Nas, obviously. Jay-Z, obviously. Outkast. I love Outkast. Andre 3K. Eminem. So, I don't know. I don't even just like rap, too. I like all kinds of stuff. People wouldn't even know. But I think I answered that question good enough. Next question, Ferg FTW. Ego, what's your take on the HBO commentary from the Lomachenko versus Walters fight? Do you agree with Lampley in regards to him saying Lomachenko is number one pound for pound? No, I don't. I don't agree with that. Again, I just mentioned that he could be pound for pound as it goes on, but right now, hell no. See, I didn't even hear it. See, I don't know what it is. Maybe because I just tuned HBO out because some of their commentary misses me. I like Roy Jones, but some of the other guys are hit or miss. Even people who weren't always that bad are like kind of coming out of the woodwork with like, it's just not sounding the same. Not like Harold Letterman, from what I remember, he would just score fights and just occasionally pop in, and I never remember him being that bad. But I watched some recent HBO telecasts and it's just horrible. It's just like, if you don't have menacing power, then he ain't giving you no type of love. That's just what it is. He's like, okay, Jim, I have this fight. I shot out 8 rounds to 0. Like, what the fuck fight are you watching? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's overkill. So I don't know. I tuned him out. I didn't even hear him say that Lomachenko is pound for pound number one. But I don't agree with that. From a skill point of view, you could say, oh, he's up there. But I don't think he's quite done enough to be Trump over Kovalev and Ward. You know what I'm saying? And it's just funny. It just goes to show you. Let me read the rest of your question. I just don't understand how they write off Andre Ward, what Andre Ward did. It's because that's not who they want to market, and it's evident. And it's a shame because, like I said earlier about the American champions, I'm here. I don't need HBO to tell me what to do, but I'm going to support American champions because I'm an American. He did just win a close fight against a top pound for pound fighter who has Lomachenko beat that could be considered as such. I don't know. I mean, see, this is the thing. Boxing fans are emotional, and a lot of it, some of it sometimes is race driven and stuff, but people listen to what you're saying. Listen to what not you, but listen to what the fans say. They say, oh, it was a close ass fight, but only Kovalev won. So you mean to tell me, in your heart of all hearts, you acknowledge that it was such a close fight that it basically could have went either way, but it's improbable to think that any judge could have scored any rounds slightly different. Now, keep in mind, Kovalev Ward, the scorecards were very, very reasonable. All 3 judges got it right in terms of indicating and representing the fight we've seen. 114 to 113, I think 2 people, and then 115, 113 or something like that. And that's fair because all 3 scorecards indicate just what it was, a close fight. Nobody had Ward winning a runaway fight, as they shouldn't have. So for fans to say, oh, it's a robbery, only Kovalev could have won, it's retarded. You know what I'm saying? And like some people even saying stuff like, oh, I would be content with the draw. Yeah, because Kovalev keeps the belt. You know what I mean? I'd be content with the draw, but to say Ward won by 1 point, ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's asinine. Like, why would you be content with the draw if it wasn't a draw and Kovalev won by a landslide? That doesn't even make sense. If you go to the grocery store and you buy a carton of eggs and the eggs cost $2, you hand them a $100 bill and then they only give you $5 back, you're not going to be like, oh, that's cool, that's close enough. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that. You'll be like, where the fuck is the rest of you owe me $95 more. Now, if you get eggs for $2 and you give them $3 and it's 2 something, like let's say $2.98 and they don't give you your 2 cents, you'd be like, okay, cool, I'll let that slide. I don't need that little bit of change, but you're not going to give up nothing major, and that's my point. So if Kovalev won and he won by a wide margin or it was a shutout, then why would you be content with the draw? That doesn't even make sense. Why would you be content with anything other than what is right? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I'm done talking about HBO. They always do this where they don't praise certain people and then praise other people. Lomachenko is a great fighter. I put people on. I've been a long time fan, but to put him above like Ward or Kovalev, I just don't see it. Why would you? You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing to just, how come HBO was just telling us the number one pound for pound person was Roman Chocolatito, right? He beat Carlos Cuadras, right? And he was the number one. So how is it all of a sudden Lomachenko? You know what I mean? What happened in Chocolatito's performance? You just said he was the number one. He moved up multiple times. He has 40 plus fights. Why is he not number one no more? You know what I'm saying? Normally you have to do something to lose your spot. Like Pacquiao gets knocked out by Marquez. Okay, maybe he loses his spot. But what did Chocolatito do to lose his spot? So it just goes to show you it's all propaganda. Second thing, Chocolatito and Ward, they both had moved up, but guess what? Ward moved up to another division from 168 to 175, had 2 fights, and really one light heavyweight fight because Alexander Brand, I mean, he wasn't even a true 175 pounder. He was a 68 pounder who had like maybe one recent fight at 75, but that's it. He wasn't a permanent resident at 175, which is my point. So he basically had, let's say, 2 total fights at light heavy. You could say Paul Smith at a catch weight at 173, and then Brand was kind of a light heavyweight, and then Sullivan Barrera. You know what I'm saying? So he had about a total of 2 fights, probably at light heavyweight, and he moved up and he fought Kovalev in a very close fight, right? And he moved up more pounds. Kovalev has done way more than Carlos Cuadras has done in his respective division, even though Cuadras is a champion, or was a champion, and is a good fighter. So how come HBO said that Chocolatito was number one after the Cuadras close-ass fight? Some people thought Cuadras won. And at the end of the day, you can't doubt that Gonzalez's eyes look bad. Like, you know what I mean? He had the fortune cookie eyes, like Berto versus Guerrero. His eyes looked tore up. And it was the polar opposite. He started out strong, and towards the second, the guy, the pound for pound number one guy, is the one that's fading. And Carlos Cuadras looked better in the second half. The opposite. Ward gets knocked down in the second round, and he comes on and gains strength, gets better as the fight wears on. That shows you true championship grit. So why would you say the Chocolatito's number one pound for pound on your list when he was in a close fight and he doesn't lose his spot until, I guess, Lomachenko allegedly takes it? But Ward, it's improbable to put him there. You know what I'm saying? Because you're mad that he won for whatever reason. So whatever. Next question. Hen R1E91 Zam. Yo, Ego, great content. It really shows that you put some thought and effort into your videos. Now for my question. Do you think Oscar Valdez is ready for a fight against Gary Russell Jr.? Well, he has no choice. He's a champion. He defended, and it's looking like he's blowing the guys. Like, I haven't really heard much of. I covered a couple of his fights, I think. I was at his fight. He was on the Crawford Postal undercard. He knocked out the Argentine puncher, and then he just was on the Pacquiao Vargas card. Had another knockout. Took him a little bit longer. But the point being, I think it's time to move up and start fighting the better names. And he's a champion. So, yeah, I think he's going to start moving up into fighting the bigger names, maybe a Gary Russell Jr. or whoever else in the division. Next question, Cedric Trailer. Good shit, Ego. Always keep coming with great info, unbiased, just as it should be, no doubt. What can you expect for Ward and Kovalev to do different in a rematch? By the way, I had no issues which Ward decision win. To me, either Kovalev got off the gas or got tired. He gave away fight. Also, exactly. Also, please give your thoughts on the HBO commentary. I just did that. It was worst I have ever heard in my lifetime. Blow-by-blow announcers must remain neutral at all times. They never do. You always know that who Lampley favored to win each time he called the fight. It was terrible. Ward really should leave or work with HBO on fight-by-fight basis. I told you guys, I haven't even watched the commentary because I seen it live. I was close. I've been busy. I still got interviews and stuff, so I haven't even rewatched the fight a second time. And I really don't care what HBO was talking about, to be honest, because it's always the same, you know what I mean? And people got mad at Floyd Mayweather, but he was justified when he went off on Larry Merchant, like, HBO need to fire your ass, you don't know shit about fight. Larry Merchant used to do the same shit over and over to Floyd. No matter what performance it was, whether it was a tough fight like Castillo or a dominant performance, he'd be like, why couldn't you stop him? Why did, you know what I'm saying? It's always like a clause. But if Triple G knocks out someone he's supposed to knock out, like Dominique Wade, the guy most people hadn't even heard of, then they act like it's the best thing since the iPod. You know what I mean? I don't know why HBO does it so blatant lately, you know what I'm saying, the last few years, but they promote the action star. If you're not an action star, if you don't have the certain look that they're looking for, then you're not going to get promoted the same way, point blank, period. And for that reason, like, I'd rather just make, you know what I mean, Sky Sports and Box Nation and some of the other channels, when I've seen videos, they do a better job, because it's not, doesn't look like it's coming from a hateful place or like they're mad Ward won. Even if they, let's say they thought Kovalev won, it doesn't sound like they're mad. Like Lampley, when his fighter doesn't win, he sounds mad. Like when Bradley beat Pacquiao, bang, bang, Bradley, no, bang, 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 again, bang. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, moving on. Motion Alex, out of your 7 reasons, what was the main one that came into play in the fight? So I assume you're talking about the recent one, Lomachenko Walters. I don't even remember all the 7 reasons, because I did the edit a little while ago, but maybe the footwork or actually I remember one of the reasons was Lomachenko gets off first, and that's what it was. He wasn't giving Walters a chance to. I mean, Walters could have, but he was making Walters timid. So I think that Lomachenko getting off first played a big part, because he kept getting off first. I told you, he's not going to wait. He's not going to wait for Walters to throw bombs at him and then start firing back. He's going to bow, get his shots off regardless. So it's up to Walters to counter that, or try to time it, or do a Danny Garcia, close your eyes and left hook it, do a Marquette. You know what I mean? He was the one that had to make an adjustment. So I think that's the one out of the 7 reasons that probably was most apparent, is that Lomachenko is not waiting, and he's going to get off with punches and bunches, because like the 7th round was just ridiculous, and that's the last round until Walters quit. He was throwing everything. He was throwing a million punches, and Walters was barely responding. You know what I mean? Throughout the fight, no body shots consistently, nothing. So yeah, Lomachenko getting off first would probably be the top reason that I gave before the fight, that was very apparent during the fight. Next question is Bernice Pierre. Can you make Carl Frampton fight RIGONDEAUX, please? Why no one wants to fight him? Yeah, I don't have that much clout. I don't have that much pull, but I would love to see it. If he gets past Santa Cruz, you might want to just stop running away from that challenge, you know what I mean? Because it's going to forever haunt you from the fans. And why no one wants to fight him? Because he's an Olympic gold medalist, and he's that dude. Motion Alex, you see Walters should have come out to round 8, or was it enough for him? Oh yeah, I definitely think he should have came out, because at the end of the day, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It looked like you could have continued. You weren't injured. You didn't have a broken jaw or seeing doubles or nothing. Looks like you were just getting outworked, out hustled, and you know, I mean, maybe some of the shots hurt him, but you just gave up. Like, nah, man, this is like, he's on a different level, and he just conceded. It's like the people that play Madden. You ever play Madden online with somebody, and you're whipping that ass, and they'll hang on for like the 3 quarters, and then when it gets to the 4th quarter, and they know they're down by like 5 touchdowns, it's like 7-42 or something crazy, and they know they have no opportunity to win, or it would be it'd be like a major comeback. They'd have to do everything right, and they'd rather it would be like your player has left the game, or they send you a message to concede and quit. You know what I mean? That's what it reminds me of what Walters did. Instead of him just trying to throw some Hail Marys and get an interception and whatever on Madden, he's just like, man, your player has left the game. Fuck this. I'm the Axeman. And he just cut turf. Next question, Ali Diego 619. If Joe Smith Jr. beats Bernard Hopkins, do you think he deserves a title shot next? yeah, you beat a legend, and I mean, people will talk. And it's Bernard's last fight, so yeah, I think the people, that'll be 2 consecutive performances where he had good wins if he beats Hopkins clear, fair, and square. That and Fanfare, yeah, get a title shot if him and his team feel they're ready against Adonis Stevenson, since War vs. Kovalev 2 is most likely going to be next. Yeah, I mean, if his team feels he's ready, then I can't say. I mean, I want to see compelling fights at light heavyweight. So if Joe Smith Jr. knocks out Bernard or beats him and has that second consecutive win in a row, then he's made a good name for himself, or a better name for himself, and maybe he is ready for a title shot. And the final question, Keith Mathis, one fresh to death. Ego, LOL. Did Walters pull an Ortiz, Victor Ortiz, and on top of that gave the poorest excuse by saying he was a more active fighter? That's horrible. But he knew that when he signed the contract. What are your thoughts? I mean, you said it in your second word that you typed, LOL. I mean, who cares if he was more active? You knew what you were getting into. You know, HBO's been doing a great job of promoting Lomachenko, so you knew what they were saying he was, and it was your job to exploit some vulnerability. You talked a good game before, said, "Oh, I guarantee a knockout. I'm gonna knock him out, and this can't go to the scorecards. I'm gonna do this, and I'm the axe man, chop him," and he didn't deliver. So I don't want to hear, "Oh, he was more active." I mean, you knew that when you made the deal that he was more active. You knew you hadn't fought since Jason Sosa, so that's a piss poor excuse. Let me know how you think I did this week. I try to get to a lot of questions. Monday mail day, we back in it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hey, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.